Hello everybody, here I am at my office at First Pres, and if you can see, all my shelves are empty because I took all my stuff to my home office. So now I'm trying to bring stuff back little by little and hoping that maybe soon it'll be safe to maybe come back church, that maybe soon it'll be safer to come back to church eventually. So happy Memorial Day, and I wanted to talk a little bit. I did a I did a Facebook Live video today about Memorial Day and told it and did my lifetime story, but I did not save it. I'm so sorry. So I thought I would do a video for some activities that you can do with your family on Memorial Day, as well as talking about what Memorial Day is, what it means to me, what it means to us as a people of God and as a country. So Memorial Day is a tribute to those who have been heroic in paying a price for our freedom. Memorial Day. Memorial Day is a day on which we stop to remember to honor the women and men who died in military service while fighting to defend the cause of freedom. We have a lot of freedom in our country, and many courageous women and men gave their lives to pay the price of freedom that we enjoy. There are ones that we honor this. They are the ones that we are honoring this week as we celebrate Memorial Day. So as we celebrate Memorial Day, we want to take time to think about the people that we know that have served in our country in many different ways. The people that we know that have served in active duty, the people that we know that have lost their lives in service in the military, the people on our police force and firefighters, and even preachers like Martin Luther King, who gave his life fighting for the equality and freedom of people in our country. So there's a lot of different people who are heroes. What other heroes can you think of? We've got lots of heroes at the church too. One of our heroes is Wally. He is a veteran. He fought for our freedom and now still is in the National Guard and still is helping us during disasters and all sorts of different things. So thank you, Wally, so much for your service. And do you have any friends that are in the military? I have friends and family members in the military. And I know our teacher, Miss Cindy, she's got a son in the military, and he's actually in Hawaii, stationed in Hawaii in active duty. And then I've got a cousin and her husband. They are both, Kayla, they are both in the Navy. And then I've got a good friend whose name is Mike, who is a veteran in the Army. And then I've got two really good friends who were both in the Marines, Jessica and Brandon, their husband and wife. And then my grandpa, he serves in the Air Force, and I will show you a picture of him. This is my Bapo, is what we called him. And today I'm remembering Bapo. And every Memorial Day when I was with Bapo, we would always go to some sort of memorial service. And it was always such an honor for him to stand whenever they asked veterans to stand. He always had such pride. And it was such an honor for me to be able to celebrate him. And he passed away this year, and so unfortunately he's no longer with us, but I will tell you that he was a hero in many ways. He served his country in the Air Force and flew airplanes. He served his country through being an engineer, and his inventions, he served the whole world, all the people, through the different inventions that he worked on at a company called Fisher. And then he also was a hero as a family man, and he loved his family so much and always thought that his family was super important. And he always taught us to love God. So he was a really wonderful man, and I really miss him today and every day. So I do thank God for my Bapo and for the service that Bapo gave to me as a grandpa, as a father figure, and as a military man. So I also wanted to talk about ways that we honor God and thank God and remember God's promises and the things that God has done for us. So I'm going to take you to Joshua, the book of Joshua, which is in the Old Testament. And remember, the Old Testament is towards the front of the Bible. And in this book of Joshua, we're going to remember that we start out with the Israelites. They're enslaved in slavery in Egypt, right? And then Moses and Miriam and Aaron lead them out of Egypt. And Miriam does her little prophetess dance and rejoice and song as they exit, and the Red Sea is parted, and Moses brings down the Ten Commandments, and then when Moses comes down from Mount Sinai with the Ten Commandments, all of his people are going crazy and are worshiping idols. So then they roam in the wilderness for 40 years. That's a really long time. And then when Moses passes away, Joshua becomes the leader of Israelites. So Joshua is leading the Israelites to the promised land, and they come to the Jordan River. And the Jordan River is really high with water, and it is just raging. Have you ever been to the Cedar River or down at Palisades when the water is really high? And sometimes you can go down to Palisades and you can walk on the sandbars, and it's really calm and beautiful, but it's still really dangerous. But sometimes it gets even more dangerous than that, and the water gets so high that there's no sandbars, and it's just huge rapids, and it's really scary. And this is how the water was when they got to the Jordan. And they said, there's no way that we're going to be able to cross this. And so God did something similar that God did whenever they crossed the Red Sea. God cut off the water to the Jordan River, and they were able to walk across. After that happened, God said tongue twister. God said to Joshua, pick 12 people from the Israelites to go into the river and grab 12 stones out of the river. And these 12 stones they used as memorial stones to remember how God led them to the promised land. They made a memorial for God to honor God. And we have a lot of memorials that we build nowadays to honor our fallen soldiers, to honor our veterans, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Chief Standing Bear. Frida Kahlo is one of my heroes. Sylvia Mendez is an amazing American hero. So Albert Einstein is an amazing hero. We've got lots of different heroes in our society that we memorialize and that we thank for all the wonderful and amazing things that they've done. So in this story, Joshua and the Israelites are thanking God for all the amazing and wonderful things that God has done for them. So they take their stones out of the river and they stack them up. And so this is just kind of something fun and simple you can do. You can go out and find some stones, and you can just kind of stack them up. Find ones that will lay flat enough for you to stack, because that's a challenge. So I'll show you. I stacked these ones. And then I've got these really pretty smooth stones that I can stack too. Ah! Oh no, that one's not flat enough, so I can only maybe do two. Oh, that one's so pretty though. I really wanted to stack that one.
Alright, I guess we'll just do this one and this one. And maybe, no, that won't work. Maybe I could do this. See how many stones you can stack? It's kind of like Jenga. See how many stones you can stack? It's kind of like Jenga. So you could stack some stones. You could even glue some stones on a stack together to memorialize a loved one in your life, or one of your heroes, or a veteran that you know. You could put these stones in your garden. You could give these stones away to someone who is your hero or who is a veteran that you know. Or you could paint your stones, and you could paint like thank you on it and give it to a veteran or one of your heroes, a firefighter, a police officer, maybe someone who does something in political office that you see as heroic. Animal shelter, people in the Humane Society. Like I said, Wally White is a great hero from our congregation, and there's a lot more of veterans that we have in our congregation. So I have a list of their names. If you'd like to write thank you letters to them, that would be wonderful too.
We're down by the Dead Sea today, lowest place on earth, and we've come across some of the most unusual landmarks you'd ever want to see, with political slogans on there and people's names. Why in the world would someone go to all the trouble to stack these rocks on top of one another and then to leave messages for others to see? Well, in the Middle East, in Israel especially, going all the way back into Bible times, this is a tradition simply called the tradition of standing stones. When Moses and Joshua led the wandering Hebrews to the edge of the Jordan River, Moses gave clear instructions to the nation to set up standing stones as a reminder of the law that God had given them. A short time later, Moses died and Joshua took over the responsibility of leadership. His first task? He had to lead hundreds of thousands of people across the flooded Jordan River. God miraculously stopped the flow of the Jordan, and the entire nation crossed the riverbed safely. At that point, Joshua did not forget the command to set up a memorial of God's promised blessings to those who obey him. He sent one man from each tribe back into the riverbed with instructions to bring back a stone. He then set up the 12 stones as a permanent memorial. Joshua must have been ecstatic about the miracle. It was his first big challenge as a leader, and he had no intention of letting the next generation forget the miracle. In the future, Joshua said, when your children ask you, what do these stones mean? Tell them. Maybe today is a day when you'd like to set up a standing stone. Has God done anything really wonderful for you lately? Do you remember some part of his faithfulness that's really stunned you? Well, take a stone and put it in your garden. Put it in your yard somewhere. And not only is that a great way to remember what God has done for you, but think of this. When your children or your grandchildren or your friends ask you, why is this stone here? You can tell them about your standing stone.
We're going to talk about more heroes. We talked about this kind of act of memorialization, and there's the video that we saw about this act of memorialization of the stones, right? Well, what about other heroes in the Bible that we can talk about? So we have heroes. We talked about how we have heroes today. Well, there were heroes back then too. Joshua was one of them. Miriam was one of them. Moses was one of them. So let's go. We're going to stay in Joshua, and we're going to talk about a story about Rahab. We're just going to watch a fun video about it, okay? And then I hope you guys have a great day. So I'll talk to you later. Enjoy this video, and after the video, we can say a prayer together, and you can do some fun Memorial Day.
A long time ago, the guards in Jericho wanted to arrest 2 men who were working for God. This is how it happened. 40 years went by after the 10 spies brought back their discouraging report. Joshua, the young spy who joined Caleb in bringing a good report about the Promised Land, was now Israel's leader, and he was still looking for ways to encourage people. Just as Moses had done years before, Joshua sent out spies. This time, the 2 spies went into the Promised Land. "Go, look over the land," Joshua told them, "especially Jericho." So the men slipped into that mighty city. That night, they went to a house built on the city wall. Rahab, the woman who lived there, answered their knock. She knew they were Israelites, yet she invited them inside. Now everyone in Jericho, including Rahab, knew about the Israelites. Everyone knew the Lord fought Israel's battles, and that scared the king of Jericho and his army. But instead of calling the soldiers, Rahab talked to the men. Then she hid the 2 Israelites on her roof under some stalks of flax. When the king's soldiers came knocking, Rahab swung the door wide open. "Bring the men who have come to spy on us," they demanded. "The men left here a short time ago," she lied. "Go quickly and you will surely catch them." The soldiers dashed away looking for the spies. About that same time, the gates of Jericho clanked shut. The city settled down to sleep. When all was quiet, Rahab crept onto the roof. "I know the Lord has given the land to your people," she told the spies. "We have heard how he dried up the Red Sea for you. Everyone is afraid. Our courage has melted. You know I have shown kindness to you. Give me a sign that you will show kindness to my family." "We will," the men promised. "Our lives for your lives. You don't tell what we are doing, and you will be safe when the Lord gives us the land." So Rahab took a red rope to let the spies down from her window. "After we have gone, tie this rope in your window," the spies told her. "When we take the city, we will save you and the family members inside the house with you, but the rope must be in the window." Rahab watched as the men climbed down the rope and disappeared into the darkness. She carefully tied the cord to the window. Deep in her heart, she knew that she had discovered
So as we celebrate Memorial Day this week, remember to stop and thank God for those who have defended our country, for those veterans, and for those people who have given their lives in service to our country. And let us also remember to thank God for all the promises that God has made to us and all the things that God has done for us. 1, 2, 3. Dear God, thank you so much for all of our veterans, for all the people who are actively serving our country, and for all the heroes that serve our country both in the military and in other ways. We thank you so much for giving us all these people and for the gifts that you've given those people of bravery, and we hope that you will help us honor them. We also thank you for the promises that you give us and have given us. And we know that you stand by your promises, and we thank you for loving us always. And help us to give that love to everyone else. In your name we ask. Amen. Have a great day.